All right, kiddos, as promised, these are the problems that were most missed by students on the final exam semester 1 study guide. The first one here, number 1, it says which is not a verbal expression for b squared minus 3. Letter A says b squared less than 3, and because it says less than, this goes in the other order. Letter B says b squared minus 3. That's correct. Letter C says the difference of b squared and 3. That's correct. And letter D says 3 less than b squared. That's correct. So A is not a verbal expression. The next most missed question was number 23. And in this problem, we need to solve for A, and we're going to do that by using PEMDAS backwards. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute. That gives us 2A minus 16 plus 7 equals, distribute, 5A plus 10 minus 3A minus 19. Now I'd like to combine some like terms, anything that's in common on both sides. Remember, this is staying on its side, so all we do is using the sign in front of it, combine. So this gives me 2A minus 9 equals 2A minus 9. Now I'm trying to solve for A, so I need to get all variables on the same side. So I'm subtracting 2A from both sides. That disappears, I'm left with negative 9 equals negative 9. So that means that all numbers are possible, or in other words, infinite solutions. Okay, next problem, number 24. In this problem, we are going to be evaluating, meaning substituting in, and we're dealing with some absolute value signs. So we've got the absolute value of negative 3 times 3 plus negative 4 minus negative 1. That's a little keep, change we can do there. And then I want to start with anything inside the absolute value. I can multiply, order of operations, that gives me negative 9. And then I'm going to finish order of operations inside those parentheses or absolute value signs, that gives me absolute value of negative 13. Now I'm going to solve the absolute value, so these two bars will actually disappear. The absolute value of negative 13 is 13. Plus 1 is 14. So final answer, C. Now this problem, not as many people got wrong, but I think we need to refresh it. So remember, whatever is inside the absolute value sign could be equal to the positive version of the answer, or it could be equal to the negative version of the answer. So we just have to solve those two equations. Add 9 to both sides. 2z equals 10. Divide both sides by 2. And z equals 5. Or add 9 to both sides. 2z equals 8. Divide both sides by 2. And z could equal 4. So the possible answers are positive 5 or positive 4. So letter B is correct. Now the graphing part I will never ask you to do. They're just simply putting the dots on the number line for those two values. It seems like a waste of time. All right, now we have a little bit trickier of a problem. These are the word problems that you guys always struggle with. The most important thing that you have for the final is that you know how to fill in the table and you know how to write the equation. I won't ask about solving it. So let's go ahead and start by filling in the table. We've got the Kentucky bluegrass that sells for $5.75 a pound. So that goes under price per pound for Kentucky bluegrass. We got the tall fescue that sells for $4.50 a pound. So that goes here. And we've got the mixture that they want to sell for $5.25 a pound. Now it says let K represent the amount of Kentucky bluegrass. We're going to put in a K in for Kentucky bluegrass that they use in 5 pounds of the mixture. So the mixture is 5. If we know the total amount, the mixture, and we know that K is the Kentucky, if we do the total minus the Kentucky, we will be left with the tall fescue. Now the next thing we need to do is take the number of pounds and multiply it by the price per pound to find the cost. So the Kentucky bluegrass is $5.75 times K. The tall fescue is $4.50 times the quantity, 5 minus K. We'll have to distribute that. And the mixture is $5 or 5 pounds times $5.25. Now to write our equation, we're going to only be using the cost column. We're going to add together the two types to equal the mixture. So your equation is 575K plus 450 5 minus K equals 5 times 525. Now I'm not going to solve that for sake of time, but you should be able to do that easily. You need to distribute, combine like terms, etc., etc. In this problem, another word problem, again on the test, I'm only going to ask you to be able to complete the table and write the equation. You don't need to be able to solve. So we've got 2 trains that are 150 miles apart. Okay, and one's going east and one's going west. There's one traveling at 55 miles per hour and there's one traveling at 65 miles per hour. So the first train at 55, the second train at 65, they both leave at the same time, and we want to know when they pass each other. So their times are going to be the same. Now remember, distance equals rate times time, so all I have to do is multiply these things together, and I have the distance. So if the distance of each of those trains adds up to the distance total between the two. So my equation is going to be 55t plus 65t equals 150. Combine like terms and solve for t. That would give you part C. All right, let's do another. Graphing using the x and y intercepts. Okay, so if you recall, to find the x-intercept, you're going to insert a y value of 0. So I've got 1/2 x minus 0 equals 2. So that's 1/2 x equals 2. I'm going to divide both sides by 1/2. That gives me x equals 4. So the x-intercept is 4. Oops, wrong spot. 4. Okay, and then to find the y-intercept, I'm going to plug in an x value of 0. So I get 1/2 times 0 minus y equals 2. That'll disappear. You get negative y equals 2. We need to divide by a negative 1. And that'll give us that y equals negative 2. So the other intercept is at negative 2. And then we would have our line there. And I believe the answer on that one is going to be letter B. I couldn't fit all those graphs and still show you the work. All right, next problem. The table below shows the average amount of gas Teresa's truck uses depending on how many miles she drives. Is this a function? Well, remember that a function has one x value has one y value for each x value. So if I set up a mapping diagram and I draw my little arrows, each x value has exactly one y value. So yes, it is a function. Is this a proportional relationship? Well, in order to be proportional, it needs to have 0, 0. It has to go through the origin. So I notice here this is going up by 1 and this is going up by 18. That means it's linear because it's constantly increasing by the same rate. If I continue that rate going down, I will notice I get 0, 0. So yes, it's proportional because it goes through 0, 0. All right, next problem. We're going to write this equation in standard form. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to distribute. We get y minus 5 equals 3/2 x plus 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 2 is 6. Then I need to add 5 to both sides. It gives me y equals 3/2 x plus 11. I need to subtract 3/2 x from both sides. Gives me a negative 3/2 x plus y equals 11. It's almost in standard form. It needs to have all integers. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing by the denominator, 2. And that'll give me negative 3x plus 2y equals 22. Correct answer, letter C. All right. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the given point and is parallel to the graph of the given equation. So looking at this equation, what is the slope? We don't know. We need to change it into y equals mx plus b to find out. So I subtract 9x from both sides. It gives me 3y equals 8 minus 9x. Divide everything by 3, and now I can see the slope is going to be negative 3. And the slope of a parallel line is also negative 3. Then I'm going to use this ordered pair and this slope, y plus 4 equals negative 3x plus 1. Distribute. Move the 4 to the other side. And we have our final answer, letter C. Last problem. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the given point and is perpendicular. Again, I need to find the slope first. Same process as last time. So there's my slope. M is 2/5. So the slope of a perpendicular line is negative 5/2. Now I'm going to use this point, y minus negative 5 equals negative 5/2 x minus 4. I need to distribute. Negative times a negative is a positive. Subtract 5 from both sides. And I have my perpendicular line. Answer is D. All right, that's all for today, guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me and I can create a video for those problems that you need extra help with. Good luck on your exams tomorrow.